left you barely hanging on. Oh no, but the burn!
I think this is going to be a really good match. Smooth Selfies have a really good team. Obviously, we'll be playing Symmetrals, who's our reigning champion.
Welcome to Superior VGC for Week 6. This is going to be Friday Night Drafts League's match. We're going to be featuring Lansing Leafeons versus the Little Rock Lucarios. Now, we originally have a show set up for you guys, but this week is a little bit different. We do have a lot of extensions coming through, specifically 2. So a lot of the stats and kill leaders would still be kind of skewed to kind of lean towards the matches that have already been played, with 4 teams still not have playing yet. So we're just going to go ahead and proceed with the featured match, and then next week we'll have a collective roundup of everything that has happened throughout the last 2 weeks of the draft. So let's go ahead and begin with today's matchup of the Lansing Leafeons versus the Little Rock Lucarios. And here we are in the preparations complete page, as we see that the Lansing Leafeons have Ndidi, Dialga, Ursaring, Braviary, Sawsbuck, and Landorus Therian, while the Little Rock Lucarios have Zoroark, Hisuian, Samurott, Espathra, Palmot, Iron Valiant, and Rayquaza. So right off the bat, Nick is running a very like one of his general use teams. We do see that Flame Orb, Ursaring with the Ndidi. We've seen a lot of VGC matches have that Ursaluna with the Flame Orb, but here we see obviously the Ursaring instead. And then, you know, Jerry has a very interesting team that can always be very deceptive. It's just kind of like a matter of how it's being utilized. So we do see the Zoroark, Hisuian. I would probably consider, against this matchup, bring in the Espathra, since you do have the potential for there being a Psychic Terrain on the field with Ndidi. I think Espathra could probably benefit from that. The issue with that is, though, you really don't have anything that hits super effective with Espathra with the Psychic move, because, you know, you have the Braviary that is a Psychic type, and then a Ndidi that is also a Psychic type. But that extra boost for the rest of the Mons is going to be very useful. So let's go ahead and begin this matchup and see just what these two teams bring to the table. All right, and leading off the match, we have the Rayquaza and the Palmot, as Lansing Leafeons lead off with Ndidi and the Sawsbuck. Now, Sawsbuck is a really great add here, as we do see it's a Winter Sawsbuck. The typing doesn't change to Ice type, but if it did, that would have been a perfect addition there to go against that Rayquaza. As we do see the Ndidi knock up its Psychic Seed, boosting its special defense. Now, there's a solid chance that both the Mons on the opposing side are physical attackers, but we're going to go ahead and see what these teams decide to go for as their openers. So again, Palmot really good because it could potentially usually use Fake Out, but because of Psychic Terrain, all Pokemon being grounded, that probably won't be the case. Hopefully Jerry is tracking that. And then Rayquaza has the potential to use Extreme Speed, but again, that priority move just can't be used, as we do see the Fake Out, and it's protected by the Psychic Terrain, so that's not going to work. We do see the Follow Me coming through, and now every move is going to be redirected, so that Rayquaza gets the Tailwind up, so there is no attack coming from the Little Rock Lucarios, which is not the worst. We do see Trailblaze coming in, doing a critical hit damage. We do see the Sawsbuck boosting its speed. The Air Balloon is being popped on that Palmot. And now Palmot is one hit away potentially from just getting knocked out. That critical hit was very crucial there. They are going to be faster now. However, we did see that there was a Follow Me from the Ndidi. So I would bargain that potentially, we go back to another Follow Me, as we do see a Trailblaze coming back in. Nick probably deciding whether or not he wants to, just try to knock out that Palma. But here we go. We do see the Follow Me, like we said, and potentially we do see a close combat coming in from that Palma, doing a good amount of damage on that Indeedee. That defense drop on that Palma will guarantee it gets knocked out. We do see the Icy Wind coming through from the Rayquaza. Snow Cone, that Sawsbuck, that's a really good nickname. That Sawsbuck's going to lose the speed that it got from that Trailblaze move. However, that Indeedee's special defense increase kind of helped out a bit in order to resist that, as we do see the Sawsbuck knock out the Palmot with that Trailblaze and recovering that special or that speed boost that it got the previous turn. So we're back to square one with the Sawsbuck, but in terms of that Indeedee, there was some good damage put into it because of that Palmot. So hopefully being able to focus on that Indeedee this turn and then potentially starting to work against the Sawsbuck could be a good idea. As we do see that the Indeedee is actually going to go for Dazzling Gleam instead of a Follow Me redirection. But then we see the Sawsbuck potentially terrestrializing into that normal type with Body Slam, which can be really useful. I'm not sure. Well, I mean, terrestrializing into normal type is great, but it's going to be interesting to see what Samurott has in the back, right? Because right now, I mean, you still have super effective moves that will be stab damage onto the Samurott if you need it. The Body Slam is the question. So if you're prioritizing taking out that, we do see the Air Slash knocking out the Indeedee from the Rayquaza. So Indeedee's completely out now. And like I was saying, the Rayquaza potentially going for an Air Slash onto the Sawsbuck. Maybe that was the reason for that defensive Terra potentially. We did see the Horn Leech to recover HP. So that was a great play from Nick to kind of give this Sawsbuck longevity with that speed boost that it already had, as we do see the Dialga coming in this next turn. So again, Nick playing very strategically here, defensive Terra, recovery, prioritizing opponents. Right now that Rayquaza has not shown to be a threat. There's one turn of Tailwind left. So potentially what you can do is, you can just straight up Draco like we see the Dialga opting to go for now, and then just wrapping up against the Samurott with your Sawsbuck. Now, the potential for the Rayquaza being a Terra or terrestrializing right now is big. I think that's why we saw Nick opt to switch to move around just in case he didn't want to commit to dropping his special attack. So it seemed like Dialga's going to go for a Flash Cannon onto the Rayquaza. But again, we have not seen a Terra from the Little Rock Lucarios just yet. So there is still a chance that they opt to go for a potential defensive Terra here in order to kind of give some longevity to the Mon and try to reposition themselves. I guess we're going to see what happens here. We do see an Air Slash coming into the Sawsbuck, almost enough to pick it down, but not quite enough. We do see the Horn Leech onto the Samurott, super effective, going to recover some of that HP, and just below where it was before. So again, that Rayquaza putting in some damage onto that Sawsbuck, as we now see Dialga opting to go for Flash Cannon onto the Rayquaza, almost enough to pick up the KO. Tailwind has now petered out. There is a chance here that Sawsbuck can be faster than the Rayquaza because of that initial speed boost it got, but we're going to have to see just how that works out. We do see Zoroark Hisuian coming out, and it does not have the illusion ability because it's probably, there's no other Mon left for it to kind of copy its illusion. So, or it could just have a different ability altogether, which it cannot. So, again, kind of interesting how the Zoroark got played here. I'm wondering if there's a reason for that. Again, you usually want to open up with the Zoroark or use Zoroark midway through in order to deceive your opponent and kind of have them attack based on them thinking it's a certain type of Mon. As you do see the pure normal Terra onto the Zoroark, potentially trying to go for an extra stab boost onto its move. And we do see a Body Slam coming in from the Snow Cone. And like we said, it is faster than that Rayquaza now, so it will pick up the KO on that side of the field. So again, the Little Rock Lucarios are now just left to their one last Pokemon, being this Zoroark, which has Hyper Voice. As we do see the Hyper Voice coming through with that stab, knocks out the Sawsbuck. Dialga being extremely resistant to this. I don't think the Little Rock Lucarios will have a way just utilizing Hyper Voice to pick up a KO on Dialga. And we do realize that there is a focus sash on the Zoroark, so that Draco meter would have been enough to pick up the KO, which is valuable information for the for the Lansing Leafeons here for next match. We do see that there is still a Landorus Therian here, so the 1 HP on this Zoroark and then the 2 Mons that are against it on the opposing side of the field is going to be enough to secure the KO here. And the Lansing Leafeons are going to get the first win of this set. But again, it wasn't as lopsided as you would originally think for it to be. But we do see the Earthquake come in and secure the KO on the Zoroark. So this first match will end up being a 2-0 for the Lansing Leafeons. But again, not as one-sided as we thought. I think there were some plays there that the Little Rock Lucarios could have probably adjusted or played a little bit better. For example, that first turn fake out was big. That first turn fake out was honestly quite a waste. So if you weren't instead of a first turn fake out to a probably close combat right off the bat, or potentially you would have led with a Zoroark with the illusion of a Palmot and then went straight for the Hyper Voice, I think that would have been great. As you know, sure, you got a special defense boost on the Indeedee, but you also just put in damage on that Sawsbuck that put in some work against your team. So it's going to be interesting to see how this game 2 plays out. But potentially, if the Little Rock Lucarios did something like that, where they adjusted and utilized the illusion ability from their Zoroark, potentially, allows them to kind of play that deception game a bit and at least get a better position opening up the match. But we'll see how exactly these two teams decide to kind of adjust here. And then we do see Nick opting to have this Ursaring coming into the match. Oh, decides not to. But I feel like Ursaring would be a good bring here in form of an adjustment. And we did see that Dialga did have a Trick Room, if I'm not mistaken. So again, it seems like the Lansing Leafeons are going to opt to kind of play against the Tailwind, if you will, by enabling that Trick Room, having that Ursaring in there. Hopefully, Ursaring maybe has Protect, so you would probably lead with something like Trick Room Protect turn 1, then you outspeed everything if your opponent opted to go for Tailwind again. And then at that point, you've shifted all momentum completely to your side, so you'll have all the momentum leading into the battle. But again, that's just one option. Another option could just be straight out offense. So let's say if the opponent led with Rayquaza and let's say something like Samurott or maybe even Espathra, you could potentially even just go straight into the Draco Meteor. The Dialga can just one-shot the Rayquaza. And then Ursaring, even if you just hit a Pokemon once, it's going to do some good damage. And then you're just going to enable your Flame Orb next turn. But again, the better choice is the Trick Room. That way you guarantee your Ursaring gets the Flame Orb boost with Guts and then is also faster than everything under Trick Room. But again, we'll see how this match plays out here in match 2. As we do see the Little Rock Lucarios opening up with Espathra and Rayquaza, and we do have, obviously, the Dialga and Ursaring on the other side. So, again, we do see the Protect going into that Ursaring. We do see the Trick Room going into the field. Again, this is a very telegraphed move. Hopefully, Little Rock Lucarios can read it going into this match, because a Protect enabling that Flame Orb and a Trick Room coming in from the Dialga is very clear and transparent. Right, and then once you do that, the amount of momentum is going to be really hard to come back from, right? Especially with the team comp from the Little Rock Lucarios here coming into this match. And a big mistake here would be enabling the Tailwind from. If the Rayquaza goes for the Tailwind, that will be it might just be disastrous. We'll see what exactly happens here. As we do see the Dazzling Gleam coming from the Espathra with Protect from the Ursaring. And neutral damage onto the Dialga, but not quite enough at all. We do see the Icy Wind, which still would have boosted it will boost the speed here on the Trick Room. Dialga avoids the attack, and it would have resisted it as well. So we do see the Trick Room coming in, and now speed tiers are inversed. So The Ursaring probably being the fastest thing on the field, unless if the Dialga is rocking like some weird speed stat. We do see the speed boost for Espathra going to hinder it instead of being beneficial because of the effects of the Trick Room. We do see the Draco Meteor going to be going into the Rayquaza here, which will secure a one-hit knockout. And then the Ursaring now has Guts enabled, so that Espathra is in danger as well. Again, like we said, once Trick Room is enabled in this matchup, it is going to be a lopsided sense of pressure, really, as we do see a withdraw from the Little Rock Lucarios, which is a really great choice there, as we do see them sending out their Samurott. So Samurott's going to be taking in a chunk of damage here. We do see the Facade coming in from the Ursaring, and it is enough to secure a one-hit knockout on that Espathra. Brutal damage right there. And then we're going to go see a Draco Meteor coming in from the Dialga going into the Samurott. And again, not quite enough to secure the knockout, but that is significant damage for this match. Again, the amount of pressure coming into this match now because of the Trick Room is going to be significant. The Little Rock Lucarios are going to have to find a way to quickly adjust and maybe try to delay the inevitable outcome under Trick Room, just to kind of exhaust Trick Room, and then from that point try to see what they can do. I think the Lansing Leafeons have 2 Pokemon that can set up Trick Room right now, so their priority is going to be, of course, protect the Ursaring and then continue to cycle through that Trick Room. So Dialga's a Trick Room setter. You need to focus on Dialga and Ursaring, of course. That's why the pressure becomes so difficult to deal with, right? So if you can take out the Ursaring, that'd be great. But primarily, you need to watch for those Trick Room users. So while the Trick Room is active, you're playing a game of protecting yourself and ensuring that you're surviving and taking out the biggest Trick Room threat, right? Because that Trick Room user needs to exhaust a turn to set up Trick Room, and then they'll be the last ones to use that move. So the priority here, in my opinion, would be take out that Ursaring at all costs while protecting yourself and extending Trick Room, delaying the fact that Trick Room is going to expire or making it expire. And then shift focus entirely on making sure that no more Trick Room is set up. But it's going to be really difficult here, as we do see the Ursaring terrasilize into the Fairy type, hit the Play Rough, one-shot the Iron Valiant. This is a brutal match. This set right here is going to be disastrous, I think, as we do see the Samurott going to be picked off by the Flash Cannon, and the Lansing Leafeons have been completely dominating this second match, as the Little Rock Lucarios are now just left to their final Pokemon, that Rayquaza. And even with the special attack drop that Dialga got, I don't think Dialga has to rotate or shift, only because of the Ursaring next to it. So again, you can hit that Draco Meteor, and that Ursaring next to it will probably put in enough damage with that Fairy type Terra to secure a lot of damage onto the Rayquaza. But if not, Facade is going to do a good amount of damage as well, as we see the Facade alone being enough to pick up the KO on the Rayquaza, and the Lansing Leafeons dominantly secure the win against the Little Rock Lucarios. Well, everyone, we won't have any special features or any other segments today this week for Superior Draft League, but tune in next week where we're going to break down all the standings, all the kill leaders, and all the final transactions for the trade deadline. So until next time, my name was Kershaka. This was Friday Night Draft League. Take it easy. Peace.